In 1987, a Japanese manga called JoJo's Bizarre Adventure began serialization in Weekly Shonen Jump. The series ran for the next 38 years and counting, published by Shueisha across multiple parts, each with a different cast of characters in a different time period. For most of that history, the series was a respected but niche property in Japan, and almost completely unknown in the West. Then, between roughly 2012 and 2015, something specific happened. JoJo became, almost overnight, a major presence on the English-language internet. Memes derived from the series spread across Twitter, Tumblr, Reddit, and YouTube. References to the series began appearing in mainstream Western media. By 2018, JoJo was one of the most discussed anime franchises in the English-speaking world. By 2024, the franchise had a global following large enough to support major Netflix releases and consistent merchandise sales in Western markets. The strange feature of this trajectory is that nothing about JoJo itself had changed. The series had been the same series for 30 years. The art style had been the same. The narrative conventions had been the same. The cultural references had been the same. None of the structural features of the work that suddenly produced massive Western popularity in 2012 had been different 5 years earlier, when the series was almost unknown in the West. What had changed was the infrastructure around the work. Specifically, what had changed was the internet meme economy, and JoJo turned out to be unusually well-suited to it. To understand what happened, you have to understand what internet meme culture looked like between 2010 and 2015. The early 2010s were the period when image-based meme culture matured into a major form of online communication. Tumblr was, at the time, a primary platform for visual reference sharing. Reddit was developing its meme subcultures. Twitter was becoming a platform where memes spread virally between users. The general direction was toward visual references that could be remixed, recontextualized, and shared at scale. The specific kind of content that performed well in this meme economy had certain structural features. It needed to be visually distinctive. It needed to be remix-friendly. It needed to contain moments that could be extracted from their original context and reused. It needed to feel obscure enough to function as an in-joke for the people who recognized it, while being striking enough to recruit new viewers when they saw it. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure happened to have, by accident, almost every feature that performed well in this environment. The visual style of the series is, by anime standards, unusual. The characters strike dramatic poses. The art style emphasizes muscle definition, dramatic shadowing, and graphic design influences. The character designs use unusual color palettes and fashion choices. The series has, across its 30-plus years, accumulated thousands of visually distinctive moments that could be isolated as standalone images. The dialogue of the series, when translated into English subtitles for the official simulcast that began in 2012, was distinctive in ways that translated well to meme culture. The series uses specific catchphrases, dramatic exclamations, and unconventional descriptive language. Many of these phrases became standalone memes. The supernatural mechanic at the center of the series, called stands, produced visual concepts that lent themselves to remix. The stands are essentially super-powered manifestations of a character's spirit. They have names taken from rock music. They have specific powers that often involve unusual conceptual mechanics. The combination of striking visual design, music references, and conceptual specificity produced material that meme creators could endlessly recombine. The series also contained, scattered across its 38 years of publication, an enormous library of plot moments that worked as standalone references. Specific lines of dialogue, specific character introductions, specific battle sequences, specific cliffhangers. The sheer volume of the series, combined with its consistent dramatic style, meant that meme creators always had new material to draw on. The combination of these features meant that JoJo, when it began circulating in Western internet culture, behaved differently from most anime in the same period. Other anime memes had a relatively limited library of reference material. A given series would generate a few dozen popular memes and then run out. JoJo seemed to have an inexhaustible supply. Every new chapter of the manga, every new episode of the anime adaptations that began in 2012 generated new material that could be added to the existing meme library. This produced a self-reinforcing dynamic. People encountered JoJo memes online. The memes were visually striking and conceptually unusual enough to prompt curiosity. The curious viewers investigated the source material. The source material rewarded the investigation with thousands of additional moments that could be extracted as memes. The new viewers themselves became meme creators. The library kept expanding. By around 2015, this dynamic had produced a Western audience for JoJo that was larger and more engaged than the series had ever had outside Japan. The audience was specifically composed of internet-native young adults who had been recruited through the meme infrastructure. The audience demographic was different from the audience demographic for almost any other anime that had broken into Western awareness. The animation studio David Production began producing high-quality anime adaptations of the series in 2012, starting with Part 1 and progressing through subsequent parts on roughly 2-year cycles. The timing of these adaptations was, in retrospect, perfect for the moment when the Western meme audience had become curious enough to want to actually watch the show. The adaptations gave the new audience a way to engage with the source material that was more accessible than reading the original manga. The longer-term consequences of this trajectory have been significant. The Western audience that JoJo built between 2012 and 2018 has become a stable subculture of anime fandom that is specifically attached to the franchise. Conventions devote space to JoJo cosplay. Merchandise sells reliably in Western markets. The Netflix releases of David Productions' adaptations have performed well enough to justify continued investment. The franchise's Western success is now substantial enough that it influences how the property itself is marketed. The pose-based visual conventions that originated in the manga are now treated as core brand identity. The catchphrases that originated as Japanese dialogue are now preserved in English translations because Western fans expect them. The stands have become merchandising assets that exist partly because the meme culture made them recognizable. There is a structural lesson buried in this story that applies beyond anime and beyond internet culture. When an existing cultural product encounters an infrastructure shift in a new market, the product's previous market position is no guarantee of its new market position. JoJo had been around for 25 years before its Western breakthrough. The breakthrough happened because the meme infrastructure happened to value, by accident, the specific features that JoJo had been producing all along. The work itself did not have to change. The market around it changed in a way that made the existing work suddenly more valuable. This pattern recurs in many other domains. A genre of music that was niche for decades suddenly becomes mainstream when streaming algorithms start surfacing it. A type of literature that had a small audience suddenly finds a large audience when social media reading communities start sharing it. A category of products that was hard to find suddenly becomes accessible when e-commerce infrastructure makes it possible to ship internationally at scale. In all of these cases, the cultural product was already what it was. What changed was the infrastructure around the product. The infrastructure shift unlocked an audience that had always existed but had never been able to find the product before. JoJo's transition from a niche Japanese franchise to a global cultural reference happened because internet meme culture became, in the early 2010s, a piece of infrastructure that connected the existing work to an audience that turned out to have been waiting for it. The work did not adapt to the audience. The infrastructure connected the audience to the work. The result is a franchise that in 2026 has a global presence that would have been almost impossible to imagine in 2010, despite the work itself being substantially the same. If you found this interesting, subscribe. We go deep on the structural reasons certain cultural products find new audiences when their underlying market infrastructure changes. Drop your requests in the comments. Thanks for watching.